And like Marcus said, it gets easier. I was overwhelmed. I still am overwhelmed, but I was like underwater, like at the beginning of school. Like, do I even want to still be a teacher? Like in this environment, this is not what I signed up for.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Ben Landers, founder of the PESpecialist.com, and you're watching the Phys Ed Q&A show. This is a place where we're going to just have some conversations around common questions related to physical education and try to help make your day a little bit more awesome. I hope you enjoy it, and just want to remind you, show note links will be down in the description of the video. And if you would rather listen to the video's audio in audio form, we do have a podcast, which you can check out for all you podcasters. Just search for the Phys Ed Q&A show. Let's get into the show, and I hope you really enjoy it.
What's up, friends? What's up? It is Ben and Marcus. We are back at it with the Phys Ed Q&A show. Welcome back, quarantine edition. We're shooting it from our bedrooms right now. We're both at home on quarantine, but we thought it was a good time to get together because we are both back in school. This is what, our third week?
This is fourth week.
That's right. Yeah,
We're technically fourth week. Yeah, we just in the middle of week four.
Yeah, so we've already had one schedule change, and we will have more schedule changes. So we just wanted to talk about that and just shoot the breeze, and hopefully it'll be helpful for you guys. I know that a lot of people have a lot of questions, so you want to start off with just talking about like what your schedule looks like for the start of school, and then I'll kind of talk about my schedule since we have two different situations.
Yeah, I'll kick it off. And my situation is that at our school, we have a pretty large population. We're the largest elementary school in our district. And so we have two full-time teachers at our school all 5 days of the week. So we are in school on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So the other PE teacher and I just divvied up our schedules with our classes that are come in. So we'll have a set of students who come in on Monday and Tuesday. Those are cohort A. And then we'll have another set of students that come in on Thursday and Friday. Those are cohort B. And so we just broke it down where I take the virtual on Monday and Tuesday, and then she will do the virtual on Thursday and Friday. And then I'll have them face-to-face on Thursday and Friday, while she has them face-to-face on Monday and Tuesday. And so basically I am in a portable all by myself with a computer set up in front of me with a second screen. I'm sharing a presentation, and I'm doing physical education with K through 4 students on Monday and Tuesday in a portable all day long. And then I'll have those same students in the gym on Thursday and Friday. So I end up having the same kids with me all day long. And then on Wednesday, I provide a virtual gym distance learning activity for them to do after they get finished with their morning session with their teacher. So the continuity is good. I get to see the students all week long. They get to have PE all week long. But the con is that after that week that we're done, I don't see them again for another month. And again, like we said, our schedule is about to change, but just basically how it works like that, I have the same amount of students virtually Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday distance learning activity, asynchronous, and then I have them in the gym on Thursday and Friday. That's basically how my schedule is, and the other teacher just flip-flops. So she has them face-to-face on Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday distance learning, and then has them on the computer on Thursday and Friday. So
stuff, man. Yeah, so that that one is great because the pros from my side, because my schedule is different in that we have like face-to-face and distance learning back and forth all day.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get into the flow of it.
Mm-hmm.
So like me and Marcus are in the same district, and every kid in the district either comes to school cohort A on a Monday, Tuesday, or cohort B on a Thursday, Friday. So for our school, instead of doing it the way that Marcus is, where you'll just have one related area all week, our kids have a different related area each day. And so I will still only see kids once a week. And if you have PE class like on a Monday face-to-face, the next week you would have PE class virtually. So I will have like a day where I might have like 3 virtual classes, 3 face-to-face classes, and I'm just rotating back and forth in between. It just really depends on the schedule, the way the schedule works. So it's definitely a lot harder to get in the flow, but the pro of doing it that way is that we get to see our kids at least every week. You're not going like a whole month without seeing your students.
Yeah.
So there's definitely pros and cons. I think our schedule is more confusing.
Yeah,
Yours seems like it's a
there's
lot
a
easier to
lot.
like wrap your head
And
around.
again, ours is easy like that because we have 2 PE teachers there all 5 days. Not everybody in our school district has that because their population size isn't as big as ours. And our
Right.
other related areas are a little bit more confusing because they don't have 2 like full-time Spanish teachers there all week. So it only works. It's really an ideal situation for us because we have 2 PE teachers there, and we
Yeah.
could just basically split up what we're doing, and they just had the schedule out, and then me and the other PE teacher just decided what we were going to do. So that's the only reason why it works so smooth like that. If we didn't have the same numbers and stuff like that, it would be confusing like that. But it only works out great for us because we're both there all 5 days. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's cool. Yeah. So our situation, I have Coach Cooper, who's another PE teacher that comes once a week. And so like on those days, if she has a live class and I have a virtual, I just go into the equipment room and I teach my virtual class from the equipment room while she's teaching a live class in the gym, and then vice versa. So that's what we do at our school, but it's only
yeah,
one day, so it's not like a big deal. Like
yeah.
I don't have a need to go find an empty classroom somewhere.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it only works out great for us because it's just gives, we have a couple of open portables and you just can leave your stuff there and you're just set up there all day. You set up in the morning and then you teach all day and you don't have to carry things back and forth. You don't have to worry about the background noise and stuff like that. So it just works out a little bit easier for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, if you're listening and you are about to go back into that face to face, or maybe you're still like doing the asynchronous and you're about to go into those live classes, I think one important thing that I have to keep telling myself is that this is a temporary situation and it is not ideal. And like,
Correct.
I'm used to having a like minute by minute plan and like these amazing lessons with awesome equipment, and like the kids are pumped and I know exactly what I'm doing and I've done it like 1,000 times. This year I'm just like, do I know what I'm doing next week? I just got to know what I'm doing next week, and it's probably going to change.
It's
Like,
probably going to change. Yep.
like this week our schedule changed. So starting next week, our district is now bringing all the K2 students back in 4 days a week. So instead of just having that Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, they're going to bring them back in 4 days. And being a parent of a first grader, I can attest to that. I'm very happy about that because my first grader is like just on a screen so long every day, and she's really starting to hate school on those virtual days where she's always loved school and she loves the face-to-face days. So I think that's a great move. I think our district's doing a good job keeping us safe. They have all the guidelines in place. Let's talk about the guidelines. Like, what are you can kind of give the overview of like what we have to do with equipment when entering the gym, all the new procedures and all that stuff.
So I'll tell you how we do it at our school. And basically we always try to meet the teachers because our teachers drop the students off. We try to meet them in the hallway, and especially like when I teach them on Thursdays, it's my first time seeing them. So I try to give them a quick overview of what they can do and what they cannot do. So, at our guidelines is hey, if you're in the gym and you're spaced out, you have enough space between the person that's next to you, you can take your mask off because the gym has a lot of space. There's enough room to move around, stuff like that. But if you're close to somebody, you've got to put your mask on. And we always talk about, hey, do you enjoy the virtual days or do you enjoy the face-to-face days? And most of the kids enjoy the face-to-face days. So I'm saying, hey, we have to do our part to stay safe. If you're close to somebody, put your mask on so that if we can have more face-to-face days. So that resonates well with the students. And that's a talking point that you can try to give them. When they come in, always give them a squirt of hand sanitizer, have them rub it in, and then they have a water bottle. We have markers for the water bottles to space them out, to give some space on water bottles. and then they come into the gym and they just walk all the black lines. So they just get used to being back in the gym. They haven't been in the gym since March. So a lot of them, this is their first time being in there. Some of them's first time being in there a while. And then I tell them to freeze, and then I just double check to make sure that they have some space. And then I say, hey, once you have some space, then you can take your mask off. So we always just are always communicating with students about using hand sanitizer, washing hands, making sure you're in a safe space so that you aren't close to anybody. And if you're close to somebody, have your mask readily available for you so you can put it back on. So most of the movement stuff and the activity stuff that we're doing is spaced out at this point right now, because this is our first time coming back and doing some things like that. So we just want to have them spaced out. And then when we exit, after we do activities and stuff like that, and we'll talk about that later on, but when they exit, they always go and get their water bottle first. Before they move to get their water bottle, they have to put their mask on. So when we're lining up, we're putting mask on. We have tape designated on the lineup spot for them to stand at a spot. We always talk about having Superman arms, having your arms out front so you're not touching other people that's in front of you. So we're always constantly talking to students about safety protocol and being kindness and masking up and doing all these things. So I think it's very important to communicate that with students. So you're not trying to, I don't use a better word of tricking them or something like that. Be upfront and communicate with them about it. Say, hey, we enjoy coming to school. We enjoy the face-to-face interaction. Let's do these simple things that we need to do to make sure that we're staying in school. Masking, washing hands, using hand sanitizer. And on the way out, I give them a squirt of hand sanitizer as we walk back to the hallway. And lucky for us, when we take our students back, the other related arts teachers are teaching in the other schools' classrooms. So there's nobody in the hallway for us. So that's a chance for you to work on them distancing and doing stuff like that. And we've dedicated time at the end of our lesson to make sure that students are spaced out and doing different things like that. So that's just a couple of things that we do to try to maintain. But the biggest thing that we do is just communicating with them about the importance of washing hands and masking up. If we do use any equipment, we do have a disinfectant spray that we spray after each. And the only time that there's an issue of that is in the afternoon if you have a class like back to back. And the only time that I've had an issue with that is if I'm spraying something and it's still wet and it's still a little bit on there. I just have a conversation with the next group like, hey, I just sprayed disinfectant on there. Don't sit right on the dot. Give yourself a little bit of space. There's plenty of space in the gym. Give yourself a little of that. Or sometimes I've put a cone on the top of it to make sure that they have some space as well. But we do sanitize each equipment after each round. But that's just a couple of things that we do to help maintain and sanitize and all that guidance and kind of stuff.
Yeah. So when we were talking, I was thinking like, if every situation at every school district is totally different.
Different.
For our situation, the week before school came back, we were told we were going to either have to go in the classroom and teach or outside. And then like new guidance came from, I think DHEC is who we are getting guidance from.
I think so. Yeah.
And so like a week before school started, the school district made it up to the principals to decide if they could use the gym or not. Luckily, both of our situations are that our principals were happy to let us use the gym. Yeah. Some schools are still not using the gym. Just depends on the administration at the school. Mm-hmm. So the way I did that, and I'll link up in this new blog, I got a little video I made for the kids of all the orientation stuff, like the new procedures. So just like Marcus said, they come in, there's a little squirt bottle right by the door, hand sanitizer, get hand sanitizer on the way in. Our rules, masks on when moving. So if they're moving around, their masks on. If they're spaced out and they're sitting down or standing still, they can take their mask off and take a mask break. We also have taped little water spots. So if they have a water bottle or a jacket, or if they need to take a mask break, I just tell them to go find an open red tape on the wall and they can take a mask break as long as they're 6 foot social distance. Mm-hmm. You can see the home base spot set up. So that's something that I have always used, and Marcus uses it at his school too, but it's basically a way to do assigned spots. and I spaced them out by 7 feet. So like when my kids come in, and I'm doing this even with kindergarten this year, the kindergartners have assigned spots this year. So they'll come in, sit down at their spots, and then we do like a warm up. I put them there anytime we need to take a mass break or anytime we need to talk to them, just to keep everybody spaced out.
Yeah.
And it's been really great. It's in front of our TV, so we can do like a follow the leader video or something like that with our mask off, as long as we're staying at our spot. So that's good. That's been a good thing. And then we have the equipment sanitation cart too. So same thing. Right now, it hasn't been a huge issue because our classes are kind of like half virtual, half face-to-face. But as we transition back to the 4-day face-to-face, is going to be a lot more like in between every class, I'm going to have to spray everything down and then have like an extra set of equipment ready to go. So one thing I've been thinking through is just like what units can we do where we're not using a ton of equipment and it's easy to swap out. Like Foursquare, we're doing Foursquare right now. And like our situation is we're allowed to use equipment within a class. They just have to sanitize before and after. We have to spray sanitizer on everything in between. Or if you have enough, like one thing we're doing with kindergarten only is we're using dots for them. And we'll like lay down the dots and then I'll just put them in a bucket and the bucket says used on Monday. And then we won't use those again until 3 days later. So you have like little 72-hour quarantine for your poly spots or whatever you have, but you can't do that with all your equipment. But Foursquare is easy. I mean, we got smaller class sizes this year. I think like I had my biggest class was maybe like 21 or something. So I can have 5 Foursquare games going and we use 5 playground balls and I've got like 30 playground balls. So that's enough to last all day. I can throw them in a ball cage and spray everything down at the end of the day and then they'll be good to go tomorrow. But yeah, we're in week 3. We're still definitely figuring it out.
Still trying to figure it out. But I mean, like you said, it's a new normal. Like you have to actually plan out and think about what type of equipment, what type of activities you're going to be doing. We haven't gone to assigned team spots yet because, like we said, we see our kids a whole week, so we haven't gotten to that point. And then with schedule changes and what might happen, and kids moving back in and kids leaving, it's just
not seeing kids for a whole month. They go for those spots real quick.
They go for So we just put dots down. Like we've done 1 dot in each of the Foursquare courts, and I'll share a link of what our floor looks like so you can see what it was. And then we just put dots in each of the squares, have them spaced out. And that gives us 24, 25 spots that you can sit and have them spread out. And even with kindergarten, we've had them spread out and we have a large enough TV that, when we're showing things and displaying things, they can still see it and be active. And we've done a lot of activities where they're in their spots and moving and doing a lot of lawn locomotor activities. So they're moving, but they're not going anywhere. So as far as, and I'll link up Wilby's fitness book in there. So we just talk about what Wilby does and they can move in that space. So if you're in a situation where you have some space and the kids can't really move that much, finding different non-locomotor activities that they can do, especially ones that they can do at home, and talking to them about, hey, I'm going to show you some activities that you can do at home to keep your body healthy for a lifetime. So with our younger students, we just follow Wilby's fitness book and we do activities based off of that. And if we have some time, then we'll move to some locomotors where they can move around. With the older students, and we'll do exercises that they can do in their own spot. And then if we have some time, we'll move and stuff like that around there. But finding those non-locomotors are something that it feels like I'm going to have to incorporate a lot more in this year because we have to be spaced out. And if we have more students, it's going to be difficult for us to move and to consistently move with students not having masks on and stuff like that. So it's just a thought, just, trying to figure things out as we go and taking it one day at a time and trial and error and all those things and giving yourself grace. And it's just a lot of stuff that you're going to have this year.
Yeah, one thing I was wondering about before we came back was like, how are kids going to do with cardio activities? Like, are they going to be able to run? Like, and I'm definitely going to try to take it easy on this stuff this year. But my rule at the beginning of school, because I was like not sure how it's going to work, is anytime you need to take a break, you don't need to come ask me. You can go to the middle to your home base spot when we're jogging around in a circle, or you can go to one of the red tape marks on the wall. You can take a water break or a mass break, because they have to bring water bottles. Our water fountains are closed because of COVID guidelines. But what I did, if you're familiar with like our warm up that we normally do, we've talked about it a lot, walking and jogging lines. And then throughout the year, you can change it up and add skipping lines, sliding lines, just working on locomotors around the perimeter of the gym. So normally I'd have kids on the line like a train track, like you're not allowed to pass anybody. And this year I just put big cones out, and kind of, if you've seen the fastest class challenge video, it's the same setup. So Marcus, maybe you could put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
Anything we talk about, guys, will be in the show notes. So if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're on a podcast in your car or whatever, just go to the peteacher.com/podcast, and Marcus is going to make the show notes page and add all the links for the stuff that we talk about.
Yeah.
And also a lot of it will be linked up in that recent blog post that I put, and he'll put that in the show notes as well.
Correct.
But so one thing I found myself saying a lot this year is, after I explained the warm up, I'm like, hey, we don't have to be on the line this year. We have a nice big track that's like between the cone and the black line, and you just walk the short lines, you jog the long sides. If you pass somebody, that's great. Give some space. It's not a race. I've been saying that like every day, like 5 times. Give some space. Everybody say, give some space. It's not a race. Everybody's like, it's not a race. So, and it's been going really well. Like,
that's good.
The kids are good. They've been spaced out. I mean, I'm of course giving a few reminders to like a select few kids in each class.
You don't always have to do that though.
Yeah. But like for the 3rd week of school, I've been really impressed, especially the little kids, when I was kind of worried, like the kindergarten, 1st graders. Dude, they're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
And if they need to take a break, they just go to the middle and sit down. And I think, one thing we got to do, especially if you're teaching for virtual classes, we got to have empathy. Like, kids have computer problems. Some kids have Wi-Fi issues. Some kids have a really hectic home life. And for them to, pay attention to you for 50 minutes on a live session is probably not going to happen. Some kids are at daycare and they're embarrassed to do a workout,
Yeah.
So I think as much empathy as we can give people right now, especially our students, is the better.
Is huge. Like you said, I didn't totally forgot about that. Like, with my virtual sessions, I've had to have a lot of empathy. Like, I'm usually one that's saying, figure out some way to move and exercise. But some kids are at home, some kids are at daycare, and they might not feel like moving, or they might be in a situation where there's 40 other kids in a room with them and they are way too embarrassed to move. Just have a little bit. Their
teacher told them they can't get out of their seat. Like
daycare. They have to stay in their seat. Yeah.
It's like,
so, and basically if, a kid says something to me about, hey, I can't move right now, I can't do anything like that, I just said, hey, that's okay. Just remember what we're doing. And when you get home, you can practice the same things that we've been working on in here. So I've used a virtual session as a way of communicating with them about doing activities and finding activities that they can do at home, and reinforce that even though they're at home, they can still move and exercise, and say, hey, if you're sitting at a computer working on math for an hour and a half, give yourself a break. Do some stationary walking and jogging, just like we practice. Walk in place for 30 seconds, jog in place for 30 seconds, give your brain that break, and then jump back into work. Or do some of the stretches we've been working on, or maybe play with some of the rock, paper, scissors games that we've been working on, or something like that. Find some activities that you can do at home to keep yourself healthy. So, but have a lot of empathy, because there are going to be kids, especially we have our 1st grade kids at the end of the day. They're exhausted. They've been sitting on the computer all day long. They're tired. The only thing my hardcore management beliefs on virtual session is making sure your camera is on and making sure your microphone is muted. Other than that, I'm very relaxed on what students are doing and what are not, because I'm constantly preaching to them like, hey, I'm here showing you some tools that you can do at home. Fine. If you don't feel like doing it right now, that's totally okay with me. Fine. And find something that you can do later on that can help you stay healthy. But make sure you keep that camera on, and please make sure that microphone is muted.
And
Yeah.
dude, like that's our, just so people that are listening, that's our district policy is cameras are on. And I know a lot of districts, that's kind of a controversial thing in itself, is a lot of districts are not allowing teachers to require that.
Hmm.
And I've had some kids that had their cameras off, and at the same time, like I think in a class, like I had a class this week that has like 19 kids in the class. There was only 15 kids in the virtual class,
Yeah.
and then like 2 kids had their camera off. So like the other kids aren't even there. Like I'm just glad at least you're logged in and your camera's off, and then if I ask you a question, you can answer it back to me, and
Yeah.
I know you're there. You know, and that, I think
Hmm.
that's like as much as we can ask for right now.
Oh
In a
yeah.
lot of kids situations, they have, like, I'll tell you, my daughter, we just got her a desk to like be in a different room, but like the first 3 weeks of virtual, dude, my toddler was running around jumping his head in the camera, and my wife and me were running around in the background.
Yeah.
You know, like we have 5, 6 people in our house,
6 people
like
in the house.
running around. It's like, it's really hectic.
Yeah.
It's more distracting
Yeah.
for
I
us to
see.
leave her, for her to leave her camera on, than it was for her to just turn it off. And that's not even a
Yeah.
situation where she's embarrassed. It's like some kids are in embarrassing situations at home that they really want to like either blur their
Hmm.
camera or leave it off. So
Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah,
try to
definitely
reinforce
show
it,
empathy
but
to those kids,
some
man.
kids don't. I try to enforce it, but some kids just don't have camera on. I'm like, hey, that's just not a battle that you have to fight. As long as they're listening to you and they're involved, I mean, that's a win in itself right there. It's just,
Yeah,
but yeah, like I tell you, I mean, every day gets a little bit better. And you start to figure out what works, what doesn't work. So if you fail, I mean, we've all failed. I've had some bomb virtual classes, and I've had some great ones. So it's just, every day gets a little bit better as long as you're trying and trying to figure out some things. But have a central idea that you're trying to get across to students. Have a couple of things that you need to work on, but in the end, have some huge empathy. Give them some grace, because they're trying to sit in front of a computer for 7-8 hours a day. It's just, and then trying to listen to you and trying to learn math and social
tough,
studies,
man.
and it's not
It's hard
easy
for me
for
to
sure.
sit down and do virtuals for 3 classes a day.
Oh man, but yeah, luckily there's a break in between what we do, but yeah, to have some empathy, for sure.
Yeah, good stuff. So that's kind of an overview of our management thoughts. And like Marcus said, it gets easier. I was overwhelmed. I still am overwhelmed, but I was like underwater, like at the beginning of school. Like, do I even want to still be a teacher? Like in this environment, this is not what I signed up for. And I think getting on social media helps, because you're seeing the same struggles with everybody. Everybody's sharing things. Marcus, me getting together and talking, I was like, dude, what are you going to do for your like virtual
Hmm.
classes? And
Yeah.
then us talking it out, it helped me to like get some inspiration and some motivation to
Hmm.
just have some ideas of like what to do. And we're going to do part 2 of this. And so check out part 2, and we will be talking about some of the actual things that we do in our virtual classes and our face-to-face classes, different ideas for activities and things like that. I hope this was helpful to just start to wrap your mind around the different management styles and just some of the mindsets you have with kids. And tune in for part 2 of teaching during COVID for some practical ideas for virtual lessons and hybrid and face-to-face stuff. Anything else to add, Coach
That's it,
Nellums?
man. Have some empathy, and yeah, we'll see you back on part 2.
Awesome. You can check out the show notes at thepspecialist.com/podcast. Have fun and teach on.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys. That's it for this episode of the Phys Ed Q&A show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like, make sure you hit that subscribe, and don't forget to share with somebody that you think might benefit from the conversation. Just a reminder that we'll have all the show notes linked below in the video description, and if you would rather listen to the audio version, we do have a podcast, which is in iTunes. You can search that on your favorite podcast player app, and be sure to subscribe. Hope you guys have an awesome day. As always, have fun and teach on, and we'll see you next time. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching the video. I wanted to let you know this video is sponsored by the PE Specialist membership community. where teachers have access to great tools like unit plan samples, station signs, trainings, tutorials, and even community forums. If you think the membership might be a good fit for you, you can head over to the peteacherspecialist.com/info for some more information. Hope you guys have an awesome day.